everybody, it's Wanda Bader here from Strategize Your Success, and today I'm joined by Gabrielle Luoma from GMLCPA. Hi, how are you, Gabby?
I'm doing great today, Wanda. Thanks.
I'm glad to have you on. I know that you have a lot of information to share with the audience, and I want them to get to know you better. So one of the questions that I'm sure that everybody has is, what is GMLCPA?
Well, we're a certified public accounting firm. We focus on consulting and advisory types of businesses. We also work with craftspeople such as engineers and architects. We help million-dollar companies go to that next level and streamline their processes. And usually it's the emerging companies that are trying to get those systems and processes in place. So we're working with them to help them really reach that next level and be more profitable.
So when you say be more profitable, what are some of the solutions that you find for people when they come to you?
Well, what we find most often with those companies that are just really getting started is that there's a lot to do and not very many hands to do it with. And so a lot of times the first thing the business owner thinks about is, hey, let's hire more people. And usually hiring more people to do what you already have going on is not the most profitable way of doing it. So we help small business owners look at, it could be their time tracking, it could be how they're actually streamlining their purchasing process, their purchase orders, all those different things down the line, so that we can actually help them streamline it, make it a little faster, easier for them to handle. Also, get it all automated. Try to get those things that are really manual processes into a software system that actually just does it for them. And generally what happens is we reduce the need for more people to handle more volume. And that's a huge value to small business owners.
It saves them a lot of time, I would imagine.
As they're growing, you have to look at those things to help them reduce the amount of time to just in the administrative cost. So we look at those things. We try to help find effective ways of doing those new processes to them so that it's not overwhelming and a scary situation. Change is always hard, so we really help them manage that change as well.
And one of the things that you do from knowing a little bit more about your business that I want to share with the audience is that you had mentioned it before slightly about the fact that you use technology as much as possible, and that also helps to streamline, I'm sure.
So our clients, we generally work with them in the cloud, and everything that they do, we have access to. And whatever we're working on, they have access to as well. So that helps the collaborative team environment that we like to foster. Technology is just a tool that we use to help better our client experience with our firm in general. So it could be the accounting transactions, it could be the tax strategic transactions, all those different things. But we do it mostly in the cloud.
Okay. And so for those who don't really understand a lot about cloud, work, can you dive a little deeper on that, Gabby, and tell people, is that, it might be intimidating, for some people to say, oh, what's the cloud thing? Am I going to be able to get my stuff when I want it?
Well, what's interesting about the cloud is that most people are working in it all the time. They have no idea.
Ah.
So your online banking is essentially a cloud tool. You can go in and see all your transactions. You can go in and transfer money. You can go in and pay your bills. That is a cloud technology that all the banking industries obviously are using now. Also, Google, Google Hangouts, Google Mail, using your calendar system in Google, that's all cloud technology as well. There's the QuickBooks Online service. There's Xero.com accounting services. So many accounting products are starting to move to the cloud, and it's all by subscription basis. So you only pay for what you actually need, not a whole suite of services. You just pay for what you need. And it's actually reduced the cost to a lot of small businesses where in the past only big companies could actually access and use that type of service. But now because of the subscription basis, now because it's smaller sizes can utilize it, it's much more cost effective. And I mean, it saves you time because you have all your information all in one spot. It saves you money because if you're if it's all in one place, then you're saving the time that it takes to find all the information that you're looking for. So, and you shouldn't definitely overlook that type of time savings because if you can go to one place and find it anytime, anywhere, that is a very high value tool to all small business owners.
Well, and what you were just saying before about you can find what you need anytime, anywhere, that's all part of your transparency too in accounting these days, is because the days of old, you'd have to wait for your accountant to roll out the books for you that they've been working on maybe for a certain amount of time that you'd never, really see it until then.
Right. Right. Well, and I think that technology has changed that relationship. And, in the old days, you're right. You had to wait for them to close the books. It took, months and months to get, your quarterly reports. And by the time it's all historical information. Actually, now, if you want us to work with you on a weekly basis, we update everything on a weekly basis. So, I mean, you get real-time information very, very quickly. And then now there's software as well that just takes that financial information and feeds it into, it's like a KPI, so key performance indicator type of software program. So you can see things very, very quickly with a glance of how your company is actually doing from either week to week, month to month, year to year. There's so many different ways to pull that data and provide more timely information.
So tell me, because obviously, you're very on the cutting edge of technology here. What is your ideal client? What type of people do you generally like working with?
Well, we like working with people who are obviously open to technology, open to finding new ways of doing things. It's okay if you're scared. It's okay. That's a normal process for anybody who is, going through change. But we want to help coach you through that so that we can obviously help provide better service and work with you on a, real-time basis. So that's one thing. The other thing is, someone who is really an emerging company, somebody who's growing quickly, who is looking for the support to help them, who are open to strategic planning, and obviously you have to be profitable. It does no good to plan anything and you have nothing to work with. So obviously we want to work with profitable companies who are looking to really expand, and we can partner with you to help you get there.
Well, and I know that I have to share because I know recently you were able to coach someone through being on Shark Tank, which must have been kind of exciting and different to do.
Yeah, that was really exciting. I really got a whole new view of, investors and what they're actually looking for and how they handle the whole that whole experience. It's very, very exciting. It's fun, but it's also a lot of work. And so business owners that are, jumping into that sort of arena, putting things together for investors and preparing themselves to go to that next level is definitely a newer experience to me, but it was definitely very, very, very exciting. So we're working through all those changes now because the show just actually hit, I think it was the beginning of November. So very, very busy getting that all going. And talk about emerging company overnight, right?
Right.
So
No pressure there, right? Well, can you tell us another success story that you've had recently?
well, we on a regular basis work with clients that have grown very quickly, and either their technology or their strategic plan for their tax strategy has not kept up. So a lot of times, one particular instance, a client came in and they had just gotten finished with writing a very large check to the IRS. Of course, this was after April. And after putting together a few different scenarios and bringing in some partners, some strategic partners of our own, we brought in a financial
Planner?
planner. Yeah, sorry, planner, so that we could look at whether we could set up like a pension plan or a 401k or something like that. We also brought in a employee benefits specialist, and together with the employee benefits and the financial planner, we're able to save them a substantial amount of money. I mean, they were already planning on putting another $200,000 or more bill for taxes, and
Ouch.
yes, it's overwhelming when you see something that big. And then we have been able to essentially reduce that down to very, very little, compared to where they were before. So, they still have to pay into the system. That's not the issue. The issue is being able to invest back into yourself. And so what we've actually been able to do is help them learn how to invest back into themselves, and create the employee benefits and a financial long-term strategy, so that the tax planning is not just this year, but it's ongoing year after year after year. So, I mean, I've paid for myself 10 times over that one. So, but it was a very successful scenario of our tax planning. And we worked with dozens of companies that have, not maybe the liability quite as high, but, if you save $10,000, $10,000 is $10,000 in your pocket. So, those are the types of successes that you're looking for when you're working with a CPA. And you have to be ready to make the change to actually somebody who's willing to get you to that point. So, but that's just one of the few success stories that we've had in the tax planning, strategic planning side of the business.
Well, and everybody, of course, loves to save money, and everybody wants to try to, invest money in their own business and, granted not pay it to the IRS if they don't have to. And it's great that you find solutions for people in order to make their business run better and more efficiently so that they don't have to do that. Now, another thing is that I know that you're extremely passionate about what you do, and you really, when you're meeting with people, really love to dive in deep and get to know their businesses. But another thing that is great is that you have fixed pricing. And until I met you, it's like I never had heard of a CPA that had fixed pricing, and that's got to alleviate some, stresses from the client as well.
Yeah, I think it was in 2011 we started to dive in, and just to be clear, there's a difference between fixed pricing and then value pricing. And
Sorry.
And no, that's okay, because fixed pricing is similar, but fixed pricing is something I started doing, I think, back in 2007, because we do the same work month after month after month. Why do we have to bill by the hour month after month after month? And so that was something I changed to probably back in 2007. In 2011, I started diving in and learning more about value pricing. And value pricing is based on, it's actually based on having a value conversation. And the value conversation with the client is, what keeps you up at night? What are your pain points? What can I do to help alleviate some of those things? And then based on that whole value conversation, that's usually about an hour, I go back to the drawing board and I put together 3 different options that I think that would work for your company. And, based on the conversation we had. And it's funny, but very, very few people tell me, well, this transaction stuff is just really, really hard. I don't understand this transaction stuff. I mean, the categorization was one thing with accounting, but lots of times it's other things like I'm not getting timely information or I'm not sure I'm doing this the right way. And so there's a lot of value that comes from having somebody actually do things for you the right way. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Right.
And so, one of the things that we do is we help find out all those things that they're struggling with and then build a pricing proposal based on that. And then it does become what's called a fixed price agreement. And every month our clients know exactly what they're going to pay us and for what. It's very project based. So, we have everything on our calendar as far as what we're supposed to do for each client on a regular basis. And so we don't let things fall through the cracks because we're handling those things project by project. And so it is a different way of handling a CPA firm where, essentially hours are typically being kept. We do based on the task and, the value that the client is actually seeking. So very, very different from a lot of CPA firms.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and I know that you work with people on a national basis, but you can also work with people on a international basis too, correct?
Uh-huh. Yeah, so we're because we're in the cloud and we are very familiar with the technology, we have clients that are all over the U.S. We have clients that have us do the full CFO back office accounting, where we're handling all of the transactions, we're handling all the reporting, handling all the tax and compliance issues that they might have from afar. So, our clients in North Carolina that, call us up and say, hey, can you take care of this bill or, send us an email and say, we got to pay this vendor today. And so we take care of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all done remotely and, like I said before, project-based type of work. So if you're expecting us to work on your billing on Mondays, then we log in and take care of that billing on Mondays, and you usually hear from us on that day. So, and we work very much as a collaborative team within GMLCPA. We all work together. We have a virtual employee, but like I said, we're all in the cloud, so we all seem to be virtual anyway, whether we come to the office or not. So it has allowed us to be a lot more flexible with our own work schedule along with the client schedule. So.
And on the international basis, like Canada would be a country that you can help people from the Canadian area, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and most of our experience has been folks that are traveling back and forth between Canada and the U.S. But certainly can handle the accounting needs of Canadian companies.
Okay. Well, is there a way that people can reach you? Is there a best way to reach you then if people are interested in getting more information on working with your company?
Well, the best way would be to go to our website at GMLCPA.com, click on the Get Started button, and give us a little bit of information about yourself. Then we'll schedule a telephone call and make sure that we're both a good fit for you and you're a good fit for us. And that usually starts the next conversation, which is the value conversation that I mentioned early on. But yep, if you go straight to the website, that would be the best way. Or you can call 520-572-1248. And uh, that's where you'll find us.
Okay, and your physical location is in Arizona, so just to put that out there, if people are trying to reach out to you, there might be a time difference.
So right now, mountain right now.
Well, thank you so much, Gabby, for joining me today and letting people know a little bit more about your business and all the different services that you offer. This is Wanda Bader from Strategize Your Success, and I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Wanda.
Thanks, Gabby.